think I ever used this thing. Yeah.
No, this will be good because then people don't have to touch it.
Huh? Go to the ground. Yeah, and then just bring that up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We can use that. I got some more.
You want to put it on the ground? I think people don't want to touch it. Touching it. Lots of different people touching it. Hello, everyone. Can you hear my soothing voice? It's like the end of it being soothing. It's about to get real shrill in here. Farther over here. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Hello. Okay, now I get it. You've been infectious over here in the front row. Welcome. You are at Grown Folk Stories tonight. I feel like sometimes I'll say that and people will be like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to be at Grown Folk Stories. Nobody's gonna do that. No, if you're here tonight, it's because something told you that you wanted some great entertainment from people just like you. We are community stories. So there's nobody that's featured. There's nobody that's like, do people get record deals for storytelling? The Jay-Z of storytelling is not here tonight. I don't know who that is. We are stories from our community for our community. So whatever you have to share tonight, if you've already decided that you're going to, is perfect. If you haven't decided if you want to share, warm up a little bit. See how it goes. See what kinds of stories are shared. I had somebody ask on one of our social media platforms, what's the theme tonight? And I was like, no theme. Whatever you want to share is just perfect. But we do have some house rules, and those are the following. One is that the stories are timed. We would love to let you go on for 30 minutes, 40 minutes about your grandmother. But we have a lot we have to get done. So our stories are 5 minutes. So whatever your good part, like, oh, the best part of the story is this. Everybody got it? You got your good part? You got your good part? All right, good. I don't want you to get to 6 minutes and then be like, no, Whitney, I have more. Think about the good part now. And the way that we're going to time you is Eric here, who is the, father of Grown Folk Stories, and the Silver Room. Give it up for the Silver Room, please. Eric is going to time us. And so you're going to see a series of signs. The first one will say that you have 1 minute left. When do you have 1 minute left? The next one will say that your time is up. That's right. And then the last one will say, seriously. And Eric doesn't make faces like that because he's a very nice person, but I'll be like, and at a certain point, everyone else is going to be like, all right, let's go. So that's how we'll keep your time tonight. In terms of stories, again, I told you whatever's in your heart to share is perfect and wonderful. I will make one exception. If you are a bigot, read the room. Because these people are not going to stand for it, and I'm not going to protect you. Also, you can swear. People ask me that sometimes. You certainly can swear. But we don't want to hear your tight five if you're a comedian. If you're a poet, we love your artwork, but that's not what we do here. So again, keep it just to stories. Anything else you want the people to know? That's it. That's it. So before we get started, what I wanted to do is actually bring up Bobby from Principle Barbers. Bobby owns this space. Again, you really just have to go inside. It's like you walk into a magazine spread. But we wanted him to share a little bit about his business and why it's so important to him and to the community here in North Lawndale. So thank you, Bobby.
Thank y'all. I'm glad y'all trust the stage. So I found this in the alley. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let it up a little higher. Is that it? No, this will work. No, thank y'all for coming. I appreciate this. I appreciate Eric. I could tell the short story now about Eric, but so first I will. But let me just say thank y'all for coming out. Bobby Price, owner of Principle Barbers. I was born and raised in North Lawndale, and I have been a barber now professionally about 9 years, cutting hair since I was 13. Had a great opportunity to work at some good spaces like Haberdash for 3 years. I was a barber for Soho House for 3 years, and so before leaving those spaces, I realized that my own community needed a good spot, and so I actually wanted to have a barbershop that looked like a space I wanted to come to as a young adult or a young child. And so I was hopefully, I'm grateful to open a space like the one I have. And so I was a creative and loved design way before Soho House and those places I worked at. So now I'm grateful for the community created who I am. So one, no, it's a little loud, but Eric and I have met each other like in passing for a long time because I lived in, as a young adult, I lived about 8 years in Humboldt Park. And so I used to come to the Silver Room all the time and hang out in that area and so on. Like everybody got some connections, whatever. So, yeah, quick short story, Tommy though, because my wife, she might walk up and she's like, no, you need to get there, you too long. But interesting, about 10 years ago, the first Silver Rooms call for artists, I was asked to be a part of that show because I do illustration and painting. I ended up submitting my work. They liked it, whatever, and so told me to bring the original work the day of the event. And so the day I was supposed to submit my work, I ended up ruining the painting, like doing too much. And so trying to add stars to the painting, and I ended up using the wrong paint and it looked like snow. And so I wanted to like wipe it clean. I was so pissed off. So I literally had a panic attack because at that time I thought I was like really getting back into my creativity. I wanted this painting in this time to change my life. But I said, you know what? Like God, I know you love me more than this. And so it's a little touching because I actually didn't want to tell the story because I knew I would cry. I'm sorry. So it's touching because that evening, I believe I was at a point of depression, but I didn't know it. So actually, I wanted that drawing to be the opportunity to get me out of depression, to change my life. And I knew if I brought that painting to the Silver Room, it would change my life. I didn't know how, but I did. I ended up meeting Taylor Worthy, who was the curator of the show. Come to find out, Taylor was the curator of the show. He was from North Lawndale. We ended up connecting. Taylor said, hey, my parents will be here. I'm sure you know them, this and that. I want to get you out to meet them. We connected. His parents said, hey, my friend came here and she auctioned on your drawing and your painting. I said, cool, let me meet her. Now, Taylor's parents about in their 50s. So I'm thinking I'm going to meet an older woman, probably 50 years old or so. So I ended up meeting someone named Tiffany Childress. And that night, she bought my painting, and I said, you know what? I like her. And so from there on, I kind of stalked her in the art show that night. So after that, we ended up trying to like connect, whatever. I made up an excuse to meet her again. I said I'll be doing some more drawings and do some more shows. And she didn't believe me, but she still gave me a number. And right now, she's my wife. And the reason why I think it's I'm so emotional about it is because when you have moments of depression or you go through a change or a stage in your life, you look back and you see just just how much you've grown and the things that you've gone through and what you've made it through in that time. And I think I do owe the events and the invitation to the Silver Rooms Art Show for the opportunity to meet my wife and literally change my life. I can't even tell you. I would need like another hour to tell you the things that has happened since then. Um, so yeah, I want to always wanted to thank Eric, thank the community of Silver Room for helping me literally change my life. Appreciate that. Forgive me too for being so emotional about it, but I've never told this story to anyone, and so this is the first time. And so I had just coming around to the Silver Room, being at Principle Barbers 10 years later, to tell the story of how the Silver Room art show changed my life. Still hard to believe. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Thank you for just being brave and authentic and sharing what you have to share. Now everyone is expected to cry when they tell their story. No, I'm kidding. So I am going to kick off with a story because I can't ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. And I'm going to tell a story of, let me get into it. Silver and Block Party. Anybody been? Anybody? Anybody? Magical day, right? I am not really good with like disorganized fun. Like, oh, just go have a good time. It's not really what I am about. I am about very structured, very regimented fun. So if I'm going to go to the Silver and Block Party and have a good time, the best way for me to do it is actually with a job. And Eric, bless him, gives me a job every year. And in 2018, I believe, could have been 2019, the job that I had was to wrangle the hosts for each one of the stages. So you guys have been there, you know that there's always someone on the stage that's meant to sort of patter or create energy or introduce the next guest coming up. And so my job was that I was going to recruit and manage those people, kind of put them in the right slots at the right time, just kind of feel the vibe of each of those people. So when I got there, something like, 9 a.m., ridiculously early, I get a clipboard, I get like a walkie-talkie that I can clip to my belt, and I'm still looking cute, right, because it's a Silver and Block Party, but also regimented fun. You guys can't see my face, but it's very regimented fun right now. So I'm starting my work. I'm like checking in with people. I'm checking my phone. I'm making sure that everybody is, enjoying themselves, that everyone is at the stage that they need to be at, that I didn't give them the wrong information. And the day is going swimmingly. There's also a little bit of a celeb that is part of my my routine, which is Ed Lover. Anybody? Ed Lover, right? Yeah, right? I mean, clearly one of the gems of Chicago hip-hop culture. He was at the House stage? No. The non-House stage. I don't even remember what stage he was at. But I was like, oh my gosh, he's like a pseudo-celebrity, so I like get to say hi, but also I can't fawn over him because regimented fun. I have a job to do, right? So I get to the stage and I make sure that he's there, and he's doing great. He's got all his water, his people are happy. I don't actually think he has people. He's not one of those people with people. But he was great. Everything was wonderful. And so I decide, well, then I'm just going to go enjoy the music at the stage for a little while until I need to be somewhere else. Now, I told you I was still trying to look cute because it's a Silver and Black Party. So I had on like a cute little jumpsuit with open back, and I have big tattoos all over my back. And as I'm sitting there and I'm enjoying myself and the music is bumping and I'm just like, oh my God, I got to meet Ed Lover. I feel a brush along my back. Now, I have friends who are going to be at the Silver Room block party. I have a boyfriend who's at the Silver Room block party. So at first I'm thinking, okay, I'm feeling a brush in the middle of my back on my skin, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's just going to be one of those people. And so I turn around expecting to see a friendly face, and it's some random drunk dude. We've all been there. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm talking to the ladies. Some of us have been there, right? And so immediately, I am just in action. I am like pushing him off of me, and everyone thinks that I'm starting to make a scene. So what do? I go to my new best friend. I love her. And the break, the DJ's on, and so I go to him and I'm just like, yo, seriously, I can't understand why people are so gross here. Like, what is the deal? It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. How are you this drunk? It's probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but still, the sun was up. You are not molesting drunk at 3 o'clock. So I tell him, and he gets on the mic, he stops the music, and he gets on the mic and he starts pointing at the dude and calling him out and saying, like, how dare you? You can't be touching people like that. No one's body is yours. And then the guy apologized. I'm just kidding. None of that happened. What actually happened was I turned around and it was some random drunk dude touching my back, and I actually froze. I crawled inside of myself with revulsion, and I slinked away, and I did nothing. And I think about that a lot. I think about how I allowed, thank you, that I allowed someone to get away with that. And then when I have that thought, I have to remind myself that that's also fucking bullshit. Because it's not my job to tell people how they're supposed to treat other people. Everyone's got a mom, right? And so I don't have a cute, happy, easy way to wrap up this story. I wish that my lie was true. I wish that I actually did do something, but if you have one of those moments, maybe the only thing I want to leave you with is that you don't have to do anything. It is not your obligation to make other people respect you. That's actually their own shit that they have to deal with. Thank you. So here comes the hat. Are y'all ready? Can I get a drum roll for the first one? You guys, like, natural percussionists. This is amazing. Theodore! Where are you? Oh, Theodore. As he's coming to the stage, I'm going to tell you Theodore is a amazing roller skater and clown and dog walker. And that is actually true. I am not bullshitting now. See, now you guys aren't going to believe anything I say because my story included a lie. No, he's amazing. He's a Renaissance man. Come on up, Theodore. Tell us a story.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? Good. I like the energy y'all got right there. That feels good. So I'm Theodore Thompson. Can I hold this? Yeah, I shouldn't even ask for permission. But anyway, so I'm Theodore Thompson, and I'm not going to talk about how much I love skinny jeans this time around. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to talk about my weight and talk about how big my stomach is. I ain't going to do that either. Actually, today I'm going to do something different and tell y'all a little bit more about me and tell you a little bit more about the community that you all are in, at least from my experience and why I live in this community where I live. So I'm not originally from the west side of Chicago. I'm originally from the south side. I migrated from Humboldt Park, south side, to Roseland, West Pullman area, a little bit of Harvey, Markham. We got moved around a lot, a little bit of Inglewood. But then back to Roseland, and from Roseland to Austin to here, and here's where I stayed. I've been over here for like 16 years. And one of the bigger reasons why I came here and I stayed here was because I fell in love right here. I had never experienced, in all the places that I've been, a community of people that just loved on each other in a whole totally different way than I experienced. I'm used to loving on people everywhere I go, but then it became life-changing when I got to a place where I'm surrounded by people that were just loving on me. And so I started doing business in this community 16 years ago as a clown, as a DJ, doing balloon decor, and it was one more thing. I forgot what the fourth one is, but but I do a lot of other things now for a business. But everything I've done for a business, I've been doing for 16 years, and most of it has always been community-based and always right in the community because it's amazing. When I started working over here, I started volunteering, and I started serving and working with kids because that's where my heart was. But my heart is also still with kids now today because I just love people. And so everything I do or have done has always been bridges and opportunities to just love on more people and get to know more people. And so over these 16 years, I've helped raise tons of people's kids in the community to where almost anybody could walk by and I would almost like know them. So this is my home right here where I live, and I got to know Bobby right here in this community. And so Bobby's a good friend, a good brother of mine. But saying all that to say, to put a call of duty out there because of wherever you at, there's children there. There are people there. And if you have a heart inside of you, I would like for you to direct your heart towards helping grow the community that you are at or in, because if there's a time of love, if there's anything that let me rephrase this. We are actually in a time in our lives right now where it's a time where we are called to love everybody. I've never seen people over the past 2 years unite and come together because they care about African American people and how they're being mistreated, or because they care about the Asian culture and how they're being treated, or they care about the Latino community, and everybody's coming together and working together. So I would say let's make this a call to love, but most of all, the young people that's around you, don't just pass them by if they got their pants down. Don't pass them by if they got their hair not combed. Each person is an opportunity that you can use, you can take advantage of and just build a conversation with, because you'd be surprised how just speaking to somebody makes a difference, because everybody, there's a nice amount of people that feel left out and that feel like they don't belong here because they're not acknowledged in the proper way. And we come in trying to solve their problem and tell them what they need to do without even getting to know them. And so that's one of the things that I do, is I get to know people, and I get to know them really fast. But once I get to know them, I get to know them over a lifetime. And so everybody matters to me, because I, for one, was one that was, as a kid, that felt left out and know what it's like to feel left out and be left out and help everybody else. And then they run and take what they got and they gone, and then I'm still here. And like, well, what about me? Well, that opened me up to a place where I can begin to see other people that are just like me, that have been left out and that need love and that need help. I don't know how much time I got left, but I'm going to just leave it at that, just to be respectful. Because I just really wanted to make sure I gave an opportunity to really get to know me, because sometimes I'm up here laughing and playing around, because I really want people to laugh and take a load off, but there are times that I really just need to be serious and just talk and share my heart.
Thank you so much, Theodore. I so appreciate that. And I'll second that idea of giving back to young people. I'm waiting for that moment where I'm old enough that I'm going to be like, ugh, the youths. Get off my lawn. Right? I got to get a, what's that, rocking chair? Right? Put it on my suit. I'm waiting for that moment. I started my career with young people, and I truly, truly believe, I don't watch TikTok, but I watch TikToks on Instagram. Anybody else? Anybody else? Right? But like, look at all these young people that are doing crazy shit. There was this little white girl that was like, oh, I just sent in, I don't know, like 600 forms of like Greg Abbott being a stank ass, right? To those like whistleblowing websites for the women who are trying to get abortions in Texas. Was that too deep of a cut? No? Okay, just my man right here, he gets it. But I'm saying like these young people are ready. They are so, so, so ready to be responsible for the world in ways that I'm gonna be real honest with you, I'm sometimes just too tired. So any opportunity you have to give back to those youth, please do. I'm a mentor for Chicago Scholars. Anybody know it? Really, really easy. It's really easy to be a mentor. Please do it. John, come on down, sir. I love it. You knew you were going to be second.
There you go.
Technically fourth.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I buried my mom yesterday. She died on the 4th. The wake was Tuesday. The burial was yesterday. Wasn't a surprise. Long time coming. She'd been ill for a very long time. Two things I want to make sure I want to cover because I'm a little shaky right now and not really together. New things, new filters to apply to a story, and how wealthy I am. So I grew up with a mom who wasn't shy about saying out loud, that's not my son. I don't know him, that can't be my son. And I'm thinking back, after my first marriage collapsed before age 30 and I was in therapy, one of my favorite excuses was, well, I'm just a dumb shit. I'm not that smart. Fortunately, I had a therapist who got tired of hearing the excuse, sat me down for an IQ test and said, well, I guess you can't use that excuse anymore. That was helpful. But as I continue to go along the path here, I realized, and maybe you know moms like this, my mom's a straight up narcissist. And narcissistic moms tend to do things with their kids like, you're either the golden child or the scapegoat. And I was definitely the scapegoat. And that kind of informed a lot of my life and a lot of the things that I messed up on. But I found out something new on Tuesday when we were going through all the old pictures and we were talking to family and everything about that. My mom was going to be a nun. And she had gone pretty far along the progress of being a nun. And I come to realize, I don't know if this is true for you, but certainly true for me, I don't know my parents as regular people as much as maybe y'all do. I have little snippets, little glimpses of things, but I really didn't know them as people. And she wanted to be a nun, and she only didn't go through with it because her mom got sick and she had to drop out. She went to that college that became Loyola. She never wanted to be a mom or a married woman. And I think that discovery for me changes my story a little bit about my mom. Now, the second part is, I think I am the wealthiest person here right now. I have a close group of 5 to 6 friends, just magical people. And whether they could be at the wake or the funeral or they were there just in spirit, I was so supported by my group of friends that I just got to be present to it all and not worry or project or think about the past. I just got to be present for people. Now, one of the things that happens when you're at one of these events and you get a bunch of my friends together, it turned into a roast of me, which was a lot of fun. It was very funny, actually. It really wasn't until that I got to the graveside yesterday that really, really snapped me. But I'm glad I went through this experience, and I feel just immense gratitude for the people that are in my life right now that got me through all this. I feel really blessed, and I'm really grateful for it. That's my story, Whitney. How about if I just hand it to you so I don't drop it?
Yeah, this is high-tech technology. We're not used to a mic stand here at Grown Folks Stories. No, I'm kidding. Thank you. I see a couple people have been anxious to sign up because you see how easy it is. Please do. Write your name in, put it in the hat. Thank you so much, John. I so appreciate that. And I love what you said, too, about shifting the story about who your mom really was. We want to believe that we love people or we know people or we can predict people based on objective reality. But so much of it is our story making around the data we've collected around who that person is. And I think you're really fortunate, John, to have just new data for your mom. I'll just share very briefly, I have a similar picture of my grandmother. My grandmother grew up in an orphanage during the Depression. So let's just layer it on. When I was a kid, if I did not finish the food that she made, which was always bland and always very red meat heavy, I was chastised, and she would tell me about how she would chew on a piece of gristle instead of having gum, so I should be really happy that I had what I had. She was also very, very loving as well, but I also think she grew up in a time where there wasn't really an option other than being wife and mom. And I really think about that sometimes. Like, what would she potentially have been if she could have been, born when I was born? And just how much a difference of 2 generations that journey could be. So I appreciate that. Our next story is going to be by Mr. Jonathan Blair. Jonathan Blair, come on up.
Oh, this is bright. Hello, everyone. I'm not gonna make you cry. So just to give you guys a startup. I'm from Los Angeles, California. That's gonna give you like a base for the story. So it's like a high school story. My cousin, my close cousin, pretty much like a brother, he hit me up on a Friday. He's like, "Hey man, tomorrow we got this hotel party. You should come through. It's by the LAX airport." I was like, "Bet, whatever," because I went to a school like on the South Bay area of Los Angeles, whatever. You may not even know about it. That's let you know what it is. But my cousin, he went to St. Vernon, and y'all see, pretty much St. Vernon. If y'all seen the Wood, that's the high school. He went to St. Vernon. So he has a different environment than I'm used to, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, I'm all in, whatever. So we get to the hotel. I'm nervous. Zero game. So I'm just awkwardly staring at somebody I like, whatever, and then turning my head when she looks back. And then so we're all enjoying the party, whatever. We had some drinks and things like that. And one thing about my cousin is that he's a devout Christian, whatever. Like he is, we'll hang out, whatever, on Saturday or whatnot. And, he's like, well, I got to go to church in the morning, whatever. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we had this party, had a good time. Nothing happened, whatever. So it's like 6 a.m. He's like, hey man, we got to go. I'm like, bro, I'm sleeping. I'm still learning about what hangovers are or whatever. I'm like, I'm not feeling good right now. He's like, nah, I got to go to church. I got to be there by 8. I was like, all right, I'll drive you, whatever. And this is kind of the plan before, but I just didn't think he was going to follow through with it. So we wake up, it's a little bit of mist in the air or whatever, and it's raining. And certain parts of Los Angeles, especially in we're driving like through South Central LA, whatever. The mist we're driving down the road and I'm hitting the brakes to hit stop signs and we're just sliding along. And then we'll finally come to a stop. And then the next stop sign we come to, sliding along, come to a stop. So we're sitting at the stop, and then I could hear a person behind me doing the same thing, sliding along, and they finally come to a stop, and I'm like looking in my rear view, making sure like they don't hit me, and then we go to the next stop sign, and the person behind me, they make a turn, and then I hear someone else sliding along, and I don't hear them stop. Then all of a sudden, they hit the side of the car. So I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm in a car accident, whatever. So protocol is grab your insurance and driver's license, get out the car. We're gonna discuss it, exchange information. Dude took off. So I was like, oh, all right, cool. And I sat there for a minute thinking about like, what do I do? Whatever, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm like 16 years old at this point in time. I'm like, what do I do? And then I don't know what happened. I looked at my cousin, and I'm like, nah, not today. So I hit the gas. I just floored it, whatever. Now we're going through South Central LA, side streets, doing 75. It's 6:30 in the morning. It's not safe for anybody at this point in time. I'm hitting dips, driving, whatever. And then I hear my cousin I'm focused. But I hear my cousin inside of my head, Jonathan, stop. Stop, man, leave it alone. Just let it go. It's all right, it's cool. And I'm just driving. I'm like, it's not cool. And I'm just focused. We still driving. And then we finally get to Manchester. And in my head, I'm like, okay, he has to stop because it's a red light. And in my head, he's like, what are you going to do anyway? I'm like, I don't know. So we finally get there, and I'm behind him. And the only thing I think of, I'm like, oh, if he goes again, I'm just going to push him through the traffic. I'm not thinking straight. You know what I'm saying? I'm hungover. I'm a little bit buzzed still, whatever. So I'm like, I'm just going to hit behind him. I'm going to hit the gas. I'm going to push behind him and push him in traffic, and then he's going to stop, whatever. Thank God that didn't happen, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have an alternative, and I really didn't want to do it, but it just started taking off, whatever. So we stopped the car. The guy finally stops, get out the car, and we're sitting there, and and I'm like, yo, like, what's up? And he's like, he just got to America. Yeah, unregistered immigrant from Mexico, whatever. So I was like, dang, this is really, I really got to use my insurance for an uninsured person, whatever. Like, this is crazy. So we're standing in the street. I'm trying to like use the best Spanish I know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I know a little bit of Spanish, but it wasn't that good. So I was like, hey man, you got insurance? He's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. Like, you got a driver's license? No. I was like, all right, bet. So police are there. I tell them the situation, and I'm thinking, like, if it was now, it'd be the dude taken away, whatever. But I tell the police, whatever, they're like, I don't know what to do. I was like, all right, thanks. So they just walk off. So here we are. I'm like, all right, whatever. So dude gives me his information. I write it down, and he's like, he said, I call the next day, and he's like, just bring it by my cousin's spot. I'm like, all right, cool. His cousin lives in East LA. If you know anything about East LA, it's highly populated with Mexican population and lowriders and things of that nature. 6'4s, hydraulics, all that shit. So I drop it off at this garage in the middle of a neighborhood that looked like a house, and just dropped it off, whatever. And so we dropped it off. It's there for like a week, and I'm like getting nervous, like maybe they stole my car, whatever. My mom tripping and stuff. So I give him a call back, like, yo, what's up? I'm like, what's up? He's like, nah, it's good, man. It's good. Don't relax. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So finally, he's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Come pick your car up on Saturday. I was like, all right, bet. So we roll over there Saturday, and my mom, this is the thing. So my mom drove a 1990 Dodge Dynasty. I don't know if you look that is, but it's a basic looking ass car. The only car he hit was the back door on the passenger side. We picked this car up, and this door has sparkles. It was candy painted. It was the freshest door on this vehicle ever. I was like, usually someone's trying to hide a dent. Well, now I'm trying to hide a polished, dope-ass door on the side of this car. I was like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, so that's my story. We left with a dope-ass door, and he looked out for us.
it. Jonathan, really good Spanish. No? Right? You know, I'm sorry, let me explain. No is also no in Spanish. Just in case you didn't know that. Oh my gosh, I appreciate that. You just sort of like lucked into the best possible option there, right? Like nobody got dragged away in handcuffs, and y'all got a fucking sweet ass candy pink door. I love it. I wish all stories ended that way. Ms. Cashel. Oh, it's who I thought it was. Bring Cashel up. Come on, guys. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Hey, so I got a grown folk story. It's an LA story. I used to live in LA as a broke makeup artist. And so this is the story of the first time I've been to a BDSM club. So how it all started, actually, I had a life coach who was also a former stripper. I don't know if that means anything, but she, we were brainstorming, trying to figure out how to make extra money, how to expand my clientele as an artist. And she said, why don't you go into, finding a cross-dresser or something? And I was like, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. I think I should do that. So I go on Craigslist, of course, and I put out an ad. I'm looking for cross-dressers to teach them how to do makeup. I've done makeup on men before, so I was very comfortable with it. So I met this guy at a Starbucks, and we got to talking, and I go over my rates and my services and what I'm going to do. And he said, you know what? I can't really afford you, but what I can do is get you access to people who want your service. And I was like, okay, where are they at? He's like, come with me to North Hollywood. I said, okay, I'll go. So, so we go the next evening. And, it's a BDSM club, and I'd never been to one before. And so I was so nervous, I took an edible just to calm my nerves. And so the plan was to do his makeup in one of the rooms so people can see and I can showcase my services. Like you too can be, can have makeup too. So we go in, and it's a really interesting spot. It's very clean and beautiful and huge, ran by two old lesbians. It was amazing. So we go in, and there's like this dungeon room. As soon as you go in, you got to sign up, and then you got to sign a waiver, and then you go in. The bathroom's on one side, couch is on another. You go through a room. There's this big dungeon room with a leather table on one side, a throne on the other. It was the femme fatale night, so it was ladies' night. And there was like a cage on the other side, and then you go in, and then there's 5 rooms on each side, and they all have different themes. There was a classroom, so I thought, okay, perfect, there's a classroom theme, I can like teach how to do that. So I was like, great, okay, good idea, we're gonna go there. So the guy he was like this big white dude who had this like bag of stuff, and like, why does he have this huge bag? So we go in, and he has like pink feathers, and he's got a dress, and he's got gloves, and he's got a wig. And so we get him dressed up, and I'm doing his makeup, and there's like 3 people standing at the door wondering what's happening. Like, this is not BDSM. So like I'm doing his makeup and get him all dressed up, and I'm like, what do we do now? And he's like, okay, so we go in there, we're gonna play. I'm like, okay, well, let's play. So I don't know, by that point, I was down for anything. So I go, and there was there's the throne there, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit at the throne. It's ladies' night, so I'm in charge. So I'm like, all right. So I go and I sit on the throne, and he has like all the gear. He's got the flagel. I don't remember the name of it, but it's like the little flagel. Something like that, starts with an F. And then so he has that, and I'm telling him to bark like a dog as he's rubbing my feet, and I'm telling him I'm like whipping him, and then there's this guy who walks past who looks like a young Ryan Felipe from Cruel Intentions, and I look at him. By that point, the edible kicked in. I was like, you want to get in on this? And he just drops to his knees, and he starts rubbing my feet, and I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, meow like a cat. Like, I didn't know what to say, so I was so nervous. so I'm like, all right, cool, I'm like a cat. And so I'm like, okay, I'm bored. And then I see that dungeon or cage. I see the cage across the room, and I'm like, all right, let's go in that cage. So they both come with me, and the guy I was with, he had a ball thing that you put I'm so not well versed in this. So he put that on, and then Ryan Felipe was there, and I had the whip, and I was like, "What are you afraid of?" And he was like, "I'm afraid of being exposed." I said, "So you're afraid of what people might think of you?" Okay, turn around. First of all, BDSM, you have to like beat people and tell them they're ugly and then they're stupid and that they suck. I don't have that in me. So I just said positive affirmations. So I was like, you love yourself. And he's like, I love myself. I don't care what people think of me. I don't care what people think of me. And I was just like whipping him, just beating the love into him because I can't put anybody down. So I was like, and then, you know, the other guy that I was with, he had the ball in his mouth, and I was like, you say you're beautiful. And he's like, I'm beautiful. Like, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And I'm like whipping, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm done. So Ryan Felipe scurries off, and then so the guy and I were kind of left to our own devices, and he's like, oh, I have this saran wrap. And I'm like, what do we do with saran wrap? Okay, fine. So we go to this other room, which was across from the classroom room, and it was a dungeon with a leather table and a swing on one end. And I was like, so what do you want me to do with this plastic wrap? And he's like, just wrap me around in it and then put me on the table and beat me. I was like, this is so weird. So I was like, okay. So I was trying to wrap him, but he was really big and I needed help. So I'm like, I need help. So I go out into the lounge area where like the throne and the cage and the other leather table was. And I see this little white girl who looks like Taylor Swift's little cousin. And I was like, do you want to help me with something? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, all right, come help me. So we go in and we're wrapping the guy around. He's laying down and I'm high at this point. So I'm just having fun with it. I have no idea what's going on. And so I'm like beating him with it. And I'm like, I'm whipping you. And wait, no, I said, I'm going to flip you around like a pancake. And I'm like flipping him around and I'm beating him and all that stuff. And I don't really know what's going on. And so by that point, there was this weirdo guy looking at me, and like when we were done and everything, he wanted to play, and I was like, no, we're not gonna play. And so just basically by the end of it, I didn't get any clients, but what happened was I walked out of there like a badass. I was just like, oh, can't nobody tell me nothing. I was just like, oh, I felt amazing. And so I'm a Christian now, and I go to church twice a week, and I pray 2 times a day, so I'm safe now, but thanks for listening.
I feel like that's it. That's the show. Thank you, everybody. We can't tell any more stories. No, I'm kidding. Kishal, if I might ask, you've never done that since? I just want to offer that maybe like you're depriving the world of your gifts. I don't know. I don't know. You just seemed like a natural. I get that you didn't know what like all the tools were called or whatever, but like you really leaned into it. As I was not to like, you know, shame anybody's kink, because by all means, get freaky, y'all. But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like sort of like at the intersection of like pussy is dry as hell, but also so engaged. What is happening? No, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for that. And I'm sorry you didn't get the clients, but yeah, Kishal does makeup, so. Sanjeen! There's no Sanjeen. Sanjeen, everybody!
Oh my God.
Yeah, you have to follow that.
I actually have a very similar story to that, but I'm not going to tell that tonight. Hi, everyone. I should say good day. I've just moved from Australia 11 months ago, from Melbourne. But I'm not originally from Australia. I lived there for almost 20 years. Went there for college and then just kind of lived there for a long time. Originally from Malaysia. So I was born and raised in tropical Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur. But I came tonight just to observe, really. I had never heard so much about this. I live in Hyde Park, so I know the Silver Room is like my little hangout. I have to walk in the stores and walk past 53rd. And I've heard so much about this event. I've been to some of the Moth series here in Chicago as well as in Melbourne, where I'm from. but I've never been to this, and this is so fun. I love it being outdoors. So such a privilege to be here. I guess I thought I was just going to tell the story about how I ended up being in Chicago. So 20 years ago, in July of 2001, I flew from Malaysia to Detroit, where my sister was getting married. She had come to the US for college back in 91, so she's been here for 30 years now. And that was my very first time in America. And she was like, oh, I should do a little side trip, go to Chicago. It's a great little city. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. So I was traveling with a friend. So we got tickets on Amtrak, and we took a train from Detroit to Chicago, and spent 5 days here. 20 years ago, it was a rom-com tragic, and I remember wanting to go and see the Chicago Tribune building, because that's where Drew Barrymore's character from Never Been Kissed worked. And I was like, hey, that's me. And then I was looking for those hot dog carts that were in while you were sleeping, when Sandra Bullock and her boss would eat. I'm like, where are the hot dog carts? Like, it was in the movie. Like, damn. But I did find a few amazing things. I remember going to Taste of Chicago. That was my first time being at a July 4th celebration in Navy Pier. That was pretty cool. And we went to this place called Lou Mitchell's in the city. Anyone been to Lou Mitchell's? Yeah, it was in the guidebook that you need to go to Lou Mitchell's. It could be celebrity spotting. Didn't see anyone. But, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Fast forward 17 years later. I'm living in Melbourne, Australia. Single, working and living my life. And, I'm on dating apps and stuff. And one day I was on a dating app called Scruff. Anyone know Scruff? Some do. It's a gay dating app. Anyway, so Scruff, when you like somebody on Scruff, you can woof them. So I see this guy. It's like, oh, he's pretty handsome. Woof. 2 minutes later, like, woof, he woofs back. Like, ooh, okay, he woofs back. Open up his profile, and you can tell where you're from in Scruff. It's actually quite, it's like, oh, he's got a little airplane kind of icon next to his logo. It's like, oh, he's traveling. He's from out of the country, and he's from Chicago. Oh, okay, cool. I have connected with lots of people over the years through Scruff when I travel, and I say this honestly, like purely platonic friends that just kind of, hey, you're in town, but let me show you a city. I got 3 great friends I've met through Scruff in New York. And so I was like, oh, I'll be this really great ambassador. Say, welcome to Melbourne. I'll show you around Melbourne. So we can start chatting. And it's like, yeah, I'm here for a work conference, and I'm just here for the week. I'll finish on Thursday, but I fly back on Sunday. I haven't really got anything planned. It's like, well, I am kind of free. Let's, if you want me to show you around, I can show you around. And incidentally, his name is also Eric. And so we made plans, and we caught up for a late lunch the day that that he finished the conference. It was a Thursday. He finished at lunchtime, and he was going to an Airbnb. We met up for lunch. What was meant to be a quick lunch that just went on for 6 hours. We just sat there chatting, and then he's like, oh, I've been thinking about going to see penguins. And it's like, oh, the penguin colony is actually near where I live. So I drove him to my neighborhood and walked down the pier, and there were the penguins. And long story short, the next 4 days, I just found I canceled everything I had. I got somebody from out of town last minute. Oh, sorry, made every excuse to kind of hang out with him, and that's all we did. We hung out for 4 days. Even that Sunday, I said, look, I'm going to take you to the airport. And it was 6 a.m. on Sunday morning that I had to drive him to the airport. We kissed goodbye, but I really didn't think that I'd ever see him again. But, we kind of kept in touch. And as soon as he landed, by that stage, we had moved from Scruff into WhatsApp. As soon as he landed back in Chicago, I think even when he got to LA to transit, we started communicating, and not a day would go by that we did not communicate. And I think there was feelings, but I was like, how is this gonna work? Like, you're in Chicago, I'm in Australia. Anyway, 2 weeks later, he's like, all right, I'm just gonna put it out there. I really like you. I don't know how you feel. I don't know how this is gonna work, but I just want to put it out there. I was like, yeah, I feel the same. I really like you too. And what are the odds that you meet somebody that you really like, who's 15,000 miles away? So I said, okay, what do we do? He said, well, I've never done long distance, and neither have I. And I said, well, why don't we give this a shot? Like, we'll try long distance. We'll make plans to catch up, and if you meet somebody else or things doesn't work, just be honest and upfront and say, I think it's not working out, and then we'll call it quits. So like, great. So that was kind of early October of 2018. And so I was like, I remember we had that chat, and I said, okay, I'm going to make plans to come and see you. So I was traveling, I was in a different state. I went down from my hotel, went to the nearest travel agent, and booked my flights to Chicago for March 2019. And I was like, all right, I'm coming in March 2019 for 3 weeks. That's the earliest I could travel because, we both had busy lives and things booked up. And so that was almost 6 months to the day we met. So yeah, that was pretty amazing. We kind of just chatted every day and just fell in love. And 2019 was a year that I didn't do much for the environment because there was a lot of carbon footprint between the two of us. We flew back and forth, Australia and Chicago a few times. We met one time in Kenya for a safari. And, quite early on when we decided, to be serious, he's like, well, this is my non-negotiables. I can't leave Chicago because I've got a son that I co-parent with my ex-husband. And if you're not prepared to move to Chicago, let's not even start anything. And I was like, I've moved countries twice. Why not? What's America? My sister lives in Ann Arbor. Like, okay, why not? Let's just give it a go. We're both in our 40s, and we're like, sure, I'll do that, and give up my life and travel all over the world. So anyway, I was meant to move in April of 2020, and then March of 2020, the world came to a halt. And we didn't know when we were going to see each other, and all flights out of Australia was cancelled. And long story short, my trip here was delayed by 6 months. I got here in October last year. We got married on New Year's Eve on a freaking cold day at Lincoln Park. It was just the judge who was my husband's cousin, our stepson, and his 2 daughters, and yeah. So, and now I'm here almost a year and just got my green card a week ago. So hope to see more of you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sanjin. So he started talking about a dating app, and I clocked that wedding ring, and I was like, oh, it's about to be a romantic one. Some of my favorites. And I gotta say, I love a big ballsy declaration of love when you have no idea what's on the other side. So, hubby, if you're out there, good job. Damn him! Is he on the Zoom? Because hubby. No, great work, great work. And thank you for coming, Sanjin. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Ms. Lily B. Come on down. She is the queen. We love her so. She is an owl in a spirit world. Give it up for Lily B. Perfection.
I don't know what I'm going to tell. I didn't plan on anything. I'm writing a play about it's called Bisexual, and it's about me becoming asexual, or not becoming. I've always been asexual. I just didn't know I was asexual. And at 40 years old, I finally took ownership of that. And as I'm writing this play, I'm like, you know how you just like, oh, fuck, these signs, so I'm going to share a story. I've never shared this story before, but it was one of these moments, right? I'm 16 years old, and I'm from the West Side, so I'm on Augusta and Kedzie-ish, behind the pool over there, in an apartment, on a mattress, in the floor of my then boyfriend Mickey, my first gangbanger boyfriend. He was a Latin king from the West Side. And I'm in his punto, right? I'm in the where they sell the weed, right? And I'm laying on this mattress on the floor, and he's on the phone with his like baby mama, like, I told you I can't go see him. You know I can't leave here right now. You want me to get a violation? You want me to get a violation? Like they gonna violate me, and I'm on the mattress just like whatever, because I don't know what a lot of this is. I'm 16. I don't know what the fuck's going on. And but he's like arguing with her. He's like 17, which to me is like super old. And I'm like, and I don't know any of this. I don't know what he's talking about. But I hear them arguing. Then he hangs up the cordless phone, fancy at the time, and he turns to me. He's like, "Sorry about that." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't care." And he takes the little tray off because it's like 4 pieces of furniture in this damn house. It's the couch and the little table with the weed, and then the little drawer with the weed, right? It's like, and a lamp. Y'all know these spots. Don't act brand new out here, okay? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm waiting. Like I don't know what I'm waiting for, because I'm a virgin. I just happened to get me a little boyfriend at my sister's graduation party, because he saw me like dancing, like juking, and so he's like courting me. And he starts to roll a B, and he's like, "For real, you don't smoke?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't smoke. I don't do none of that. My mom will beat my ass, right?" So my mom don't even know I'm over here. She thinks I'm at the pool. Like, she'd kick my ass. She knew I was in this apartment right now. So he sits on the bed, and he's trying to pull it. Like, he's trying to like, "But you look so good." And, he trying to do this whole, like, rubbing, like, just slightly rubbing your body. You know these dudes. Y'all were these dudes, I'm sure, some of y'all. And, and I'm like, whatever. Like, in my head, I don't care. He's like, "You a good kisser." And that I did know how to do, because I was kissing since I was like 14. So I got really good at it, really, really good at it. But I didn't know it was making dudes hard, right? Like, I didn't know that was happening. Like, I didn't know that that's the effect it had on people. I just got really good at kissing, and so he got really into my kissing. So we're kissing, and he does this thing where he like flipped me over on my back, and now we're face to face, and he's on top, and I feel him get hard, and I'm like, okay, well, right? Like, I just like push him off. And then he's like gets up, and then on the table he puts in a tape, and the tape, because it was a cassette tape, had a bunch of like songs. You have to understand, it's like Brandy comes on, I Want to Get Down. It's his like Mac tape. And I'm like, damn, I like this song. I love Brandy. And I was like, oh, okay. And then after that, it was like H-Town, Knocking Boots. So it was definitely his like Mac in tape. And I'm so like, he's into it, and he's like making out with me, and I'm not even like in the moment of making out. I'm impressed at the mix of songs on this tape. I'm like, damn, this is a really good tape. And so he says, "Hey, Lily, can I suck your titty?" And I was like, "Can I borrow this tape?" And he was like, "Borrow this tape?" And I'm like, he's like, "Only if when you listen to it, you think about me." I'm like, "It's your tape. Of course I'm gonna." He's like, "No, think about me in that way." And I'm like, "In what way?" And he's just like, "In a sexy way." And I'm like, "Okay, just let me get this tape." Can I suck that titty though? Yeah, I don't care, whatever. So it's super dark. He like gets a couple in, but then someone knocks on the door. He gotta go serve him. I gotta go, so I take the tape. He gets like 3 in, and then I'm like, "Oh, let me get this tape." And I go home, listen to the tape, and I don't think once about it. Not one time. And I'm writing my play, and I'm like, "Bitch, you've been asexual for so long and just didn't fucking know it." That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, baby case. Woman has her priorities straight. Let's get that brandy. Go ahead and do whatever you need to do to the titty. It's fine. Thank you, Lily. I so appreciate that story. And we're so looking forward to whatever it is that you create next. For those that don't know, Lily has been a regular at Grown Folk Stories for such a long time. And it's been so lovely to watch all the fabulous other things that you've been doing. Stoop Stories. Coming back the 29th of this month. Rosa's? At Rosa's. Please follow that on the Instas, on the Facebooks, on the Patreons. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. A great, great storytelling community. So at this point in our show, what we're going to do is take a quick break. We know that some of you have been holding it for a while. I'm doing this for you, okay? The restroom is inside. There's also beverages, alcoholic and non. Remember, the non-alcoholic are in the very, very cute little turquoise, I was going to say freezer, refrigerator in there. Please go take a look at the space. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It is ready to receive you lovelies. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll come right back in about 10 minutes with some more stories. Thank you. Oh, I know some of you want to now put your name in the hat. Please go do that. I know, like 7. Don't stop. Don't rush. All right.
Even though I had a tough time getting home this morning, flight was canceled. Yeah. Want to give a big shout out to one of my inspirations, the DJ, Mr. Bruce Forrest. Wow. Better Days. That's where he was at. And I used to hear him there, and that was a trip. Wow. A lot of lessons there. So, big respect to Bruce Forrest. Love you, miss you. And I know you out enjoying it in Costa Rica. It's Louis Vega open air sessions, man. We're opening the air right now. That's what we're doing. So I hope everybody on the Twitch channel is enjoying it. Twitch.tv/Louis Vega. This is how we do. Yes, this is a Bruce Forrest remix. Bruce Forrest mix, that is. And the production, of course. My mentor, Patrick Adams. Yeah. On lead vocal, the one and only, the incomparable. Haha. Miss Fonda Ray. Yes. One of our favorites. New York singer, baby.
All right, we are going to get started again in about a minute. As we are waiting for folks to get seated again, I want to make a quick announcement about where we're going to be next month. So October, do you know the date, Eric? The third Thursday of the month, which should come as a surprise to, well, I don't know. There's some newbies here. I forgot to ask, who's coming to Grown Folk Stories for their first time this evening? Oh my gosh, you beautiful babies. I forgot to welcome you special. You can pick up your gift baskets later. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? Eric! Let's make gift. Okay, sorry. That's right, it's my girl here. It's my hype woman. What is it, 14th? 16th. The third Thursday, y'all, just the third Thursday of October. The 21st, we will be at Kenwood Gardens, which is a brand new space by Theaster Gates at the intersection, of 70th and Kenwood. I've been told that it is gorgeous. It is a space patterned after the Gardens of Versailles. Is that what you said, Eric? Which, you know, those are actually L's, so those are really fancy gardens. You know, Versailles, no? They don't always land, it's fine. So we hope that you will come out. We know that it is October, but COVID, y'all. So we're still gonna be outside. We encourage you to bring blankets, bring cuddling friends, you know, share that body heat. Do what you need to do. So before we get started, I wanted to invite Bobby to come up and say another few words. Those that came late, we get you. We love you. But we do want to make sure that everybody hears from Bobby yet again, and we all, even everybody inside, please let's give it up for Bobby and Principle Barbers. The space is beautiful.
Thank you, guys. Eric, I'm sorry. I know, guys, if y'all want to hear, I told the first story and I started crying, so I apologize. It was touching, I know. My wife came in, she was like, "You cry, boy?" I was like, "Yeah, I cry, babe, I'm sorry." But anyway, my name is Bobby Price, born and raised North Lawndale. I've been a barber now professionally 9 years, been cutting hair since I was 13. Had the privilege of working at some great spaces like Haberdash and Soho House and being a barber for those locations, and so I was thinking, had a great opportunity to come back to the neighborhood after I realized that, well, that can be a story too, but after I realized that certain places you work, you know, they paint a picture for you, but you realize there's a glass ceiling, and then you just like, man, I gotta break this ceiling. I need to do my own thing. And so I was blessed to have an opportunity to open a barbershop back in my own neighborhood, and so this is what I've been blessed to create, you know, in this space right now. And ultimately, it was to create a space that I would have wanted to come to as a child in my own neighborhood, because growing up in North Lawndale, barbershops did not look like mine. And so it was hard. And so I didn't even get my hair cut, actually, when I was shorty. So, but anyway, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to connect with Silver Room. Glad that Eric made this happen. And so it's been a long time coming to try and connect. So hope you guys enjoy the night. I do cut hair. I'm real good. So if you can make an appointment. Go to principlebarbers.com, hit book appointment. I know how to cut. I'm also looking for barbers. If you know any barbers or stylists, natural hair stylists, I'm looking for to come work with me. And yeah, make an appointment. You got boyfriends, husbands, children. I know how to cut. I need some people in here to sit in my chair, you know, to survive during COVID and all that. So thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Bobby. How many of the people who like men out there want a man who cries? Anyone? Just okay. Just making sure it's not just me. What was that? You know what? I just think like sometimes it's like you just have to get over a hump, you know, like just any tears. Like, do you have allergies? Because I'll take that also. No, I'm kidding. Miss Loretta, are you here? Come on up. Oh, did you see her just down that drink? Loretta!
Oh, shit. I didn't think I was going to get called. Well, hi everyone. My name is Loretta. So I think I know the story I'm gonna say. That wine is definitely hitting. But so last year was like pretty, it was last year, We all know what happened last year. And I think it humbled a lot of people, especially my family. Shout out to them. But for me, last year really brought a lot of things to perspective for myself. I didn't get COVID last year, thank God. But it was just so much fear that I was just like, you know what? If I do get COVID, like I need to go out swinging, being myself. So last year I came out as queer to my family and friends. And thank you. And it was really, really scary for me to do. But I'm thinking like, well, I'm in Chicago, all my family is in Detroit, so if they shun me, they can't see me anyway, because, 6 feet, we're social distancing, so it's whatever. And what was so, backstory, so I come from an aggressively Christian household. I was an usher, I was in every single choir, I was a dancer. I literally was in church more than I was in school. So it's like, I was very nervous to tell my family. So I did it like one by one. I'm like, let me tell my siblings first, because like they're the ones who are gonna be with me longest in my lifetime. So let me just tell them first, they're kind of closer to my age. And each sibling I told, like it kept coming out as word vomit. I'm like, okay, I have something to tell you, but don't look at me differently. I promise I'm still the same person. I promise I'm not pregnant. I gave them all those like layers. And after I told them, everyone was like, oh girl, we knew. We knew. And I'm like, wait, what? Because I used to always bring guys around, so it's not like I was just like, oh, damn, when are you going to get a man? It's just like I was just hiding what I said at that point in my life, like that other side of me. And so each time I cried like a baby. I cried like a baby. I'm also the baby of my family, so they're used to this. And the person, I waited to tell my mom last. Like after I told all my siblings, I made like a private group chat with them. I'm like, okay, none of y'all tell mom, because I do not want her to find out, through anybody besides me, and then it becomes a big thing. And so, I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was actually ironically a Sunday, and my mom was just got off her Zoom church meeting, all that good stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get her on a good day, she got the word in her. So let me see if she, bring that spirit to your daughter. And it was the same type of script, but this time, I kept beating around the bush. I told her I had something to say. Of course, first thing she's like, so are you pregnant? I'm like, what the fuck, mom? I don't even have nobody in my life right now. No, and I'm not pregnant. And I'm just like, I really don't want you to look at me differently. I promise I'm still your same daughter. And I just started crying and crying. She was like, do you have COVID? And I'm like, no, I don't have COVID. And then I'm just like, oh shit, I'm just gonna have to say it. And I'm like, so I've liked girls for some time now, and I want you to know again, I'm not, a lesbian, I'm queer, so there's still a chance for you to get a son-in-law, but who knows, it's up in the air. And I was just really just rambling, crying, damn near out of breath and everything. And she was just silent on the other phone. At the other end, I'm like, damn, she hang up. And she was like, so are you done? Breathe, Loretta, breathe, just catch your breath. And I'm like, okay, let me just breathe. Let me just collect myself. And she was like, God has made you exactly how you're supposed to be. She's like, I love you, whoever you love. And that made me just, I almost fell out of my chair. I'm like, oh my God, who is this woman? Because honestly, if I would have told her a few years ago or in my younger days, I feel like it wouldn't have been the same reaction. But I think the only good thing that came out of what happened last year and what's still going on now is I feel like it put a lot of things in perspective to my family, that they rather have me around, being my authentic self than just not have me at all. And it was just so beautiful because even after that, she also ended with and also I kind of knew Loretta. And I'm like, do y'all have a secret group chat talking about this shit? Because how did all y'all And she's like, well, when you were a kid, you used to always talk about your friends who were girls. Like, you were just so passionate. And I used to think, like, okay, she's just a passionate child. But now it's like, okay, no, this is actually, more than that. And I'm just like, that made me cry, too, because I'm like, damn, I could have been gay this whole time. Like, what the fuck? Like, thanks, Mom. But I just really wanted to share that story because, like, ever since I came out, my relationship with my mom has been so much better, and with my, like, siblings and whatnot, and, like, I was fully prepared for it to be a 180. I was prepared for all my family to cut me off, and I was ready to accept that because I just, again, last year and what's going on has been so crazy, and I really believe, like, if this is the end, like, I'm not going to hide who I am anymore. So that's my story.
Oh, I love it. Loretta, I don't think you've told the story here at Grown Folks before. Is that correct? Can we please? Yeah, I don't want to say it's easy, but you tell stories all the time. You know you do. So if you have one on your heart, be like Loretta. Be a little brave. I love hearing stories of great things that have happened from the last year, too. It can be so easy to get so fixated on how everything is shit. Just me? Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to work out. Therapy is therapy, not grown folk stories, Whitney. Keith. Come on up, Keith. I am blind by this cozy light. So glad you're here.
Got it. Hey, grown folks. It's been a little while since I've been here. So I thought I would tell a little bit of the story of how we got here tonight, because I was trying to figure out, like, what am I going to talk about? I don't like to come and just listen. I like to at least contribute back to the community here. And so I was like, why don't I tell the story of how I got here tonight? And it starts, like, with my first son's birth, like, 20 years ago. Eric, how much time do I have? 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. No, so we had my wife and I had our first son a long time ago. And when you're a new parent, we were in Chicago. We moved here when he was 8 months old. We were here and we left and came back. And when you have new kids, for those of you who are parents, they kind of take up all your time, so you don't do a lot. And then as they get a little bit older, we had our second son 2 years later, and we got out more, but we don't have family here. We're all our families out east or on the West Coast. And so, we slowly started getting out a little bit more. And then in 2013, I was at the WBEZ block party. And Kara was there. And in between different sets, they actually did a Grown Folk Stories. And we were at Metro, and Lily B was on the mic. I got pictures from that day because I was there photographing the event. And I was like, and at the end of the set, Kara was like, and we do this every third Thursday at the Silver Room. And I was like, the what? And so I was like, I got to get more of this because this was awesome. And I went, and I was like totally hooked. And we would go every week. It was like, the kids at that point were like 10 and 8. So if we could get a babysitter, we'd go. And if we couldn't, we'd just be like real mad at having kids. And then we went. And every time we went, we just heard more and more stories and met more and more people. It became like a family. And we would kind of look forward to this thing that we go to. And then the kids get older. And when they go to high school, it's not as easy because like sports then, like my one son had practice twice a week at 9 p.m. Right? And you had games and stuff, and I was working and traveling. And so we missed a lot of grown folk stories. We come when we can, and Eric moved from Wicker Park to like right up the street in like Hyde Park. And I was like, this is like 4 blocks away. How can we not go? So we started coming back when we could. We were always so busy. And then like one of my sons, he leaves for college. We're like, wow, now there's only one. And we could leave him home alone. So we could do this all the time. And then COVID. And like what was starting to become an empty nest, like now they're both home again. And they're home like all the time. And they have friends that want to come over and we're like, no. And we're not going to leave them at the house. So no grown folk stories. So COVID happens and we're doing our thing. And then this past summer, something weird started happening. My younger son getting ready to leave starts what I refer to as reverse nesting. Basically just driving us crazy enough that when it came time for him to go to school, we were like, just call an Uber, dude. Like seriously, like we're not even like we're done with you. Like it just escalates because it's easier for them to leave if you just annoy the hell out of each other for the last 3 months. My other son did it. This son did it. But in August, my older one went back to Urbana, And then we also dropped the younger one off. We were like, this is dope. And so like a couple weeks ago, we came home, it was just us. And it's like, we hadn't been just us. Now, I met my wife 30 years ago, and we've been married for 23. And now like it's just us, and we made it through COVID, and we still like each other. Like we still get along. And so we're like, well, what are we gonna do this weekend? We said, well, we're gonna go down to Vanderbilt. My family's gonna be there to see the Stanford Vandy game. And then like, we're all set to drive, and we're like, we could do it. We ain't got nothing this weekend. And then my cousin, unfortunately, despite being vaccinated, tested positive this week for COVID. And so we can't stay with her, and her mom might have been exposed. We can't stay with her. So we're like, well, we're not going anywhere, I guess. We're home this weekend. So we were supposed to leave this afternoon. We canceled the trip basically yesterday. We were going to drive, but I had canceled all my work meetings. So I was supposed to leave at noon, so I had nothing going on. So at like 11 o'clock, my last meeting's done. I text my wife, because I was like, she's downstairs. I'm not going to yell. And I said, hey, it's real nice out. How about we just go grab Majani and go sit out in the park and eat lunch? We had like a midweek lunch date. And so we come back, and I'm like goofing off. I'm supposed to be working a little bit, but I'm on Instagram, and I see Grown Folk Stories is tonight, and I haven't put it in my calendar because we were supposed to be in Tennessee. And so I email my wife now because we hit all the. I had to send her the Instagram post because she doesn't do social media. So I said, hey, what are we doing tonight? We should go to this. And she goes, let me check my calendar and see what we have going on. And then immediately she texts me right back and goes, we ain't got a damn thing going on because it's just us. And so we had dinner, and we just rolled over to Grown Folk Stories, and I missed y'all, and I'm glad to be back. That's our story.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I actually think the last story I remember you telling is actually how y'all met. I think, right? Didn't y'all go to Florida and like you weren't? I'm sorry, I'm blowing you up. I'm sorry. You just had to have been there. Wonderful. Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you so much. Ms. Veronica. Is Veronica here? Woo! She was ready. Come on down, queen.
Okay. All right. This is a spooky story. All right, let me see if I can tell it. Man, I can't see anything. So I took a trip to California by myself, my first solo road trip. Rented a car and was driving through the West Coast. It was beautiful. So beautiful. Highly recommend it. So I was on my way to Mount Shasta, which is one of the largest mountains in the world, apparently one of the like highest peaks. And I was like listening to podcasts about it on my way there because I'm a dork and I love to like just learn information about where I'm going. And apparently Mount Shasta is haunted, or there are spirits, there are many legends by native people of the land too, that spirits live within the mountain. And then there's other stories about like some demonic spirits that live within the mountain, and there's lots of UFO sightings. So there's lots of legends around Mount Shasta, lots of like kind of spooky, otherworldly legends around Mount Shasta. So I'm listening to this, I'm on my way there. I'm really excited. It's all good. I'm going to be there during the day. Don't need to worry about the spirits. So what I do? So I arrive at the town, and it's a small little California town, mountain town, I mean to say. And since edibles and all of that is legal, as it is here, I guess, but it's like much more accessible there. There's 2 dispensaries right across the street from each other in this like town of like 50 people. So I go into the one dispensary. My license is expired because of COVID and all that. Unfortunately, they were really nice, but they couldn't let me in. I was like, all right, bet, no problem. I'll go across the street. Head across the street, and the security guard who's checking the IDs looks at mine and is like, oh, this is expired. He's like, all right, I'm going to have to put a different year in. And he like starts counting backwards on his hands, like, okay, so you're good, you're good. So he like put in a fake date into the computer, let me through, and I was able to get my edibles. And I thought it'd be a great idea to eat my new edibles by myself in this little mountain town, in my motel, and then drive up the mountain. And so I take my edibles because I'm very excited. It feels like a novelty thing. I'm only here for a full day, so I want to visit the mountain at night and during the day. So I was like, let me just go up the mountain. Not really thinking that one through. Because when you're driving in the mountains, there's no railing, but there's just a cliff. If you like fall off the mountain, you like fall down into abyss, and that's it. And there's no street lights. In my imagination, there were street lights. No, there's no street lights in the mountains. But I like start driving up the mountain, and at that point, like I'm realizing it's pretty dangerous, but there's no turning back. Like that's it. I have to go all the way up before I can come down. And the edibles are starting to hit, and it's dark, and I'm driving up the mountain with no railing, and I can't see anything. I'm just trying to focus on like the 2 feet in front of me and trying to get up to the top of the mountain really, really safely. And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna put on some music, calm myself down. I don't want to look, because if I look away, I might, so I'm trying to be very careful. So I just kind of like press the dashboard or whatever to put on the music, and listening to some songs. And then all of a sudden, the radio or the music goes like, the demons are coming to get you. They're coming in your sleep. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, what is going on? I was freaking out. It was the scariest thing of my life. I don't know why the radio was saying these scary things to me about demons coming to get me. And my heart is like about to leap out of my chest. But like at that point, like I'm just not even sure, like, did I die? Because there's like, I can't see anything around me. As far as I know, I could be dead. Like, I don't know what's happening. I'm really, really high. But I just, continue to go up the mountain, made it, come back down. I was terrified the whole time. I did not die. That's my story.
Outran those demons. That's right. Veronica, you were probably going like 4 miles per hour, weren't you? Right? I mean, definitely not that Grown Folk Stories condones any kind of operating heavy machinery under the influence of anything. But like weed makes you the slowest driver ever, right? You're like, no, I've got this. But the demons are coming to get me. I'm actually going to say, and not that I think that anybody would have hurt you, but like the idea is you probably had more to fear from just like random people in the woods than the demons that were coming to get you. Like the demons might have actually been trying to save you from random mountain people. Can you tell I'm from the city? Can you tell? Anybody? This is perhaps Johanna? Or maybe Johanna. I don't know. What is it? Johanna! Give it up for Johanna, everybody! Okay. Don't worry, nobody gets it.
Yeah, thank you. This is my first time in Chicago, and the first... So, be gentle. I'm a scientist, so I only have science stories. Sorry. So I did my PhD in New England, very, very white. And I didn't go to Yale. I went to the ugly little sister, which is the University of Connecticut. But it's super rural, and I was there, and we were at a bar, and I was the only Hispanic international student in my department. And we were at a bar, as you do when you're in grad school, to drown your sorrows. And the husband of a grad student there, he came to me and he's like, oh, so you're Colombian, right? And I'm like, yes, I'm Colombian. And he's like, is Javier a very common name in Colombia? And I'm like, ugh, here we go again. And I'm like using all my willpower to not roll my eyes back into my brain. And I'm like, so before I continue, let me tell you two things. First of all, we are not all called Juan, Pedro, or Maria. I mean, some of us are, but not everybody. And the other thing is, we don't all know each other. We are countries, big countries, more than some towns in Connecticut, I can tell you. It's not like if you've ever seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you know, like when there's a beaten down plane landing in Bogota, Colombia. Oh, there you go. Landing in Bogota, Colombia, and it's like a lawn and there's some chickens and cows. It's not like that. We're 53 million people. So when this guy, he's like, so is Javier a common name in Colombia? And I'm like, yes, it is. And he's like, well, I know this guy, his name is Javier. And I'm like, no kidding. I didn't know where this was going. And he's like, you know, he's a geologist, I'm a biologist. And he works with crabs. And I'm listening, you know, like trying not to roll my eyes. And I'm like, okay. So 10 years ago, I was actually working at an institution in Panama working with crabs. So when this person starts talking about this guy, Javier, who's talking about crabs and he studies fossils, I'm like, you mean Javier Luque? And he's like, yes, that's my friend. And I'm like, I do know Javier, yes. We worked in the same lab together like 10 years ago. He's like, oh my God, this is the first time that's worked. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, yeah, this is my first time too. And we're laughing and, you know, like we talk about it and I text my friend Javier and I'm like, you know, somebody else knows you and I do know another Colombian. I'm thinking about all these like feeling that I had when people are like talking about Colombian. And as a Colombian and as an immigrant here, let me tell you that the amount of stereotyping shit that I have to deal with on a semi-regular basis makes you like clutch your pearls. And so whenever somebody comes to me talking about, you know, something, I put my invisible boxing gloves and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna deal with now? But as this guy comes and talks to me and he genuinely just wanted to know if anybody knew his friend, and turns out I did know his friend, and he's my friend too. I took off my invisible boxing gloves, and I thought, well, maybe we do all know each other. Thank you.
I love it. First time that's worked ever, anywhere. You guys, the Guinness Company is coming. They're going to write it up in the book of world records. The first time ever. Does anybody else ever play that game? That whole like, oh, you went to school in Los Angeles? Do you know my friend Joe? I do that all the time. I want to be right. It's actually the same part of my brain that I think is really excited by it when someone is driving at you and they don't have their lights on. Is anybody following me? And then you flash them. And then they turn their lights on? No? Am I the only person in the world that gets satisfaction from that? Tell me. You said, here's the thing? Thank you. Thank you, Binky. I knew you'd understand. Yeah, it's the same sort of emotional itch as the whole, like, do you know my friend John? He studies crabs. Michaela! Where are you, Michaela? I don't know this to be sure. Michaela, were you the first one here? Michaela was the first one here, y'all! Give it up for Michaela!
Thank you. It's Micaela, pero thank you. It's okay. I know. I didn't do the phonetic shit. Yeah, I didn't. I know. I'm sorry. It was my fault. And I'm sorry earlier. I just ran to the bathroom. Your story was great. Yeah. Okay, so I didn't know I was going to come up here, but here we are. And thank you all for inspiring that. I'm actually going off of the last story because you talked about Javier, and I was like, okay, that's the sign. So this is a story about aware when you cast a spell. It was January 10th, 2020. And I decided it was time to do this banishing spell. I had a little book. It talks about what you got to do. You got to get a candle. You got to write down on the piece of paper on the wolf moon the things you just want to be rid of, right? So coming into the new year, what do you want to just let go? So I got my little piece of paper, started writing. I had a beautiful silver candle of power. So I was like, this feels very appropriate. And I'm writing self-doubt. I want to let go of, all these things, right? The things that are holding me back personally. But then I was like, okay, but how about relationships, all that? I was like, you know what? It's time. So backtracking, in 2012, upon graduating from NYU, I reconnected with someone from my first college, Wesleyan, and we started a relationship. His name was Javier. And cut to 2016, and we're just fighting like cats and dogs every day, and we just need it's time. But as people do, when you love someone fiercely, even though you fight like that, and even though you're broken up, you have a limbo relationship, right? I think people know what that is. So we were in that limbo relationship for about 3 years. Yeah. And I just felt like it was time. It was time to just let it go. So I said, back and forth, me and Javi back and forth, like, let's be done. So, like clockwork, I go to bed. Next day, I wake up, I go to my Instagram feed, and it's 10 a.m. And I have a message in my DMs, and it's someone saying, do you need more time with Javi, or are you done? And I was like, is this the universe? I was like, who are you? Who are you? And I was like, this person I do not know. You are not my friend. We have no common friends. Your photo is a shadow. I was like, who is this? So, and I'm thrown. So I start immediately, right? You gather your crew. I'm just like, I'm telling my cousin, I'm telling my best friend, I'm like, can y'all just like go follow this person and tell me who they are? Of course, that's very transparent, they know. But whatever, they're trying to help me. So the whole day goes through, and I had just started something with some friends called curandera circles, where I was just inviting folks to my house and just holding space for the full moon. So I have my friends coming over later, but I'm freaking out because the thing that Javi and I had, right, and I know we all do this, but that's okay, was this agreement that if we ever met someone important, right, someone that we really vibed with, you tell that person, right? That's the respectful thing. So in the back of my mind, I'm just like, this person's crazy. She's just, maybe someone he hooked up with, and she just found me somehow. Anyways, so I start trying to engage in some kind of conversation, but I also want to know who they are because I have no idea. But they're being very secretive. She doesn't want to give me her name. She doesn't want to give me anything. So, but she's like, I'm his girlfriend, and I just need to know. I was like, okay. Backtrack to... And this is a longer story, but backtrack to that summer. Yes. Oh, 1 minute. Okay. So, okay. Basically, I had seen him. The last time I had seen him, it's 100-pound scaffold had fell on me during a mural project. And it was one of those times, we were already broken up again, but it was one of those times where you're just like, okay, universe, whoever's going to come through. I'm calling on my friends. He's the only one that picks up at like the 8th person. And he did. He showed up for me that day. And then we started talking again, right, as it happens. So, but throughout these months of us talking and reconnecting, I'm asking him, are you dating anyone? How's it going? Da, da, da. Oh, no, nothing. Right? He's finishing his PhD. No, nothing. Long story short, I text this person. We started like DMing, and I'm just like, all right, I don't know what you're talking about, but you should know. He probably still loves me. And she was like, and because I literally talked to him last month. Like, what? But so I finally get him on the phone, and it was like, you know, a Jerry Springer moment. But I get him on the phone, and he has me on speaker, and she's in the room with him, and I'm like, who is Antonicia, and who, like, what is happening, like, what, like, and he's like, you've been telling lies, you've been like, whatever. And I'm like, Joe, like, do not bring me into your circus. Like, I don't know what you have going on, but please, like, right? We agreed on this. He says, I do not love you anymore. And I was like, okay, well, you came through that day, and we had a moment. We were intimate, right? So what's that? And he starts lying. And he starts saying, that didn't happen. And at that moment, something shifted, right? Because at that moment, you're like, oh my God, I spent 7 years thinking this person was this person, thinking at the very least, yes, we fought like cats and dogs, we had our toxic shit, but at the very least, we had truth. At the very least, we had understanding. And that moment was the point where I saw, oh wait, no, I've been that way. This person has not. And at the end of it, and he sounded like a robot. He just wasn't, I didn't even hear him anymore, and like who I knew. But we hung up. Immediately, I call his mother. Because I'm like, something's wrong. Like, I don't know what's happening. And she didn't pick up, but I just left her a voicemail. And I just said, you know, things are done, but I'm concerned for him, honestly. And blessedly, I had my friends that came through that evening to hold space for me and be there. And the grace, what I reminded myself of this entire time was, we lit that candle, right? You asked for it. You wanted to know. Here it is, right? We don't like it. No, it was a slap in the face. But here is the breaking point, and now you can leave. Now you're free. And that's it.
Come through, Wolf Moon! Oh, I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anybody, have a limbo relationship? Anybody? Anybody else? I stayed with a man that I caught texting another person, and she sent like a nude, and I stayed. So I get it. Sometimes we are really, really stubborn, and it takes something like a swift kick in the ovaries to leave. I'm glad that you are free now, my dear. I'm very, very glad. Misty, are you here, Misty? Misty with a heart. Come on down, my dear.
Thank you very much. Sure. Thank you very much. Yet again. Oh, it is bright. Hello, everybody. I am smiley. That's just me. But I'm a cusser so very much. So if I cuss more than everybody else, I'm sorry. But we're grown folks, so shit, it is what it is. So I guess my story, nobody's really talked about their kids too much. I have one, a girl. She will be 16 on the 16th. So I have a golden birthday and a sweet 16 to plan right before Christmas. Yeah, and she's a teenager, and she's my only one. And I guess I kind of want to talk about doubt. Like, don't doubt yourself as a mom or as a person or girlfriend, whoever, father, son, whatever. Just because I do it all the time. I have one. There's no handbook to it. There's no, is get it right this time, or you have a murderer on your hands, because I watch a lot of like true crime. That's what I do. Like, I go to sleep on true crime. And she stays in her room. And so there's times where I feel like a bad mom because it's just the two of us. I don't have a husband. There's no man in the house. It's just the two of us. And she goes to her room and she stays there and she listens to her music, talks to her cousins, talks to her friends. And I'm like, so I can't get a text that you're out of school? So, okay, but she's so independent. I'm very proud of her. She is a sophomore at a very, very good school. I don't know if you guys heard of Lindblom. All right, so she's on the dance team now. She also is helping out at the park district across the street. And it's like she's too busy for me. And I'm starting to feel like, well, where's my baby? Like, she doesn't want me to poke at her or tickle her or do it, like all these little things anymore, but she keeps begging me for a little brother, and that shit ain't gonna happen. Her dad, I'm like, go ask him. He's had other ones since you. I haven't. So, I don't know. I guess just like, hey, my daughter's a pretty cool kid. She's been on my mind tonight because I'm out. She's letting me be out, but she had her own shit to do too. So I'm like, fuck it, go to your grandpa's house and I'll see you when I'm done. So, I don't know. This is great and this is awesome, and I just appreciate everybody being out here. And I guess that's pretty much it. I just miss my daughter being this little ass like baby that depended on me, and now she doesn't, because she's like damn near a grown ass woman, and she's trying to like plan this party and shit, and it's pretty cool because she's like, hey, so the boys can't sag, and I'm like, fuck yeah. Because she wants this like winter wonderland theme. Her name is Winter with a Y. And so, she's like, yeah, we could do this Winter Wonderland theme. That's cool, Mom. And I'm like, oh, shit, there's my little baby right there. But I know when this party gets started, it's going to be like, fuck you, Mom. I got my friends here and shit. So, I don't know. But she's awesome, and I love her, and I love you guys, and I thank you for listening to my little few minutes of shenanigans. But I figured I'd tell a story about my kids since nobody else went into detail, because I just feel like she doesn't want to have shit to do with me right now, so fuck, I might as well have something to do with you guys. So you guys have a good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Misty. I'll say like, fuck you, Mom was kind of like my thing for a good like 6 years. But now it's like, Mom, I love you. Mom, you're the best. Mom, also, how shitty was I when I was 16? We talk about that frequently. And I do think it's always, the relationship that you're having with your parents is never the same as it was the year before, the month before, the week before. That idea of becoming your own person is so important. And I remember I used to work with youth, like the youths. So like 14 to like 20s, early 20s. And I remember somebody saying to me something around, it was like some professional development event, where they were really talking about like psychologically, like what's actually happening for kids around that age. And I remember somebody saying the times where kids are most complained about by adults are the terrible twos and the teens. But when we really think about it, those are actually one of the biggest areas of growth and development, and that like pushing against you and trying to figure out what they're doing is actually them becoming their own person. So I am not saying give Winter a pass on anything. What I'm saying is you and Winter are going to have so much awesome stuff to look forward to together. When she is grown, she's going to be here at Grown Folk Stories. We're going to love it. She's going to come tell stories about you. I fully see it. Fully see it. She just has to be through that developmental stage. We have one more storyteller this evening. But I'm going to make a quick announcement because generally after the last story is told, no one listens to me. So we are Grown Folk Stories. You can catch us every third Thursday. We have been doing a tour of the west side. We will be down on the south side at Kenwood Gardens around Kenwood and 70th. Did I say that right? The third Thursday in October, which is the 21st. Thank you so much. Had like 90% of that announcement right. So please check us out. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. Follow the Silver Room on Instagram, on Facebook. Are there other things for Silver Room? Oh, where's Angie? Oh, yeah, obviously, silverroom.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Silver Room has a really, really awesome newsletter. I will also say, please follow Principle Barbers, our amazing host for this evening. I don't actually know what of the social medias they're on. Do you? You don't know how to use Google. It's fine. It's fine. Follow Principle Barbers. They're great, great folks. We have had such a wonderful time here this evening. Can we give it up just one more time for Principle Barbers? Oh, joy. We have had such wonderful hosts for our West Side tour this summer, and this is just the perfect way to cap that off before we head back to the South Side. Any more announcements, Eric? Check out the podcast. Check out the radio show. Silverroom.com. Silverroom Podcast, Silverroom Radio Show. Bronzeville Winery, opening in late October. Please come and get tipsy with us. Fabulous. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to give my little spiel, which is that if you did not tell a story this evening, you're telling one next time. No, I'm kidding. Thank you so much for being here and listening. How many of y'all listened to something really awesome tonight? I say this all the time, and I go to a lot of shows. Not so much these days, of course, but I'm a little bit of a hoe going around all the Chicago shows. And I truly, truly believe that Grown Folk Stories has the best audience ever. Those that came up and told their very first story here ever. I'm sure you felt like this space really held you because these people are really excited to hear whatever it is that you want to share. And it's not about delivering the best punchlines. It's actually just about coming up and sharing what's true and real for you. And I want to thank each and every one of you who are listening for making the space for that to happen. So please give a round of applause to our listeners this evening. Thank you so much for just being here to listen and share. And of course, thank you to all of our storytellers. Y'all were amazing. I feel like I was a little bit rusty when we came back in July, but man, great fucking stories. Great fucking stories. Thank y'all so much for coming and sharing just whatever was on your heart to share. Oh my God, thank goodness. Stefan and Ricky, thank you so much for doing the sound, for doing the DJing, for doing the amazing, virtual, whatever that's happening. We really, really appreciate it. There's a whole team of people that makes that happen. Angie, our lovely lady in the front. I think I'm done with acknowledgements. We love you. That's just a catch-all. We love you. Shout out to Eric, though! As always. So our last storyteller this evening is a man who has one name, like Cher, like Madonna. He's a diva. Please give it up for Binky, y'all. Binky, please take us home. Also, Binky forgot that it was Grown Folk Stories this night, and I texted him at 8:30? And I was like, hey, where are you? Got here real quick. Real quick.
All right, fine. Man, what the fuck is dates and stuff? I don't know. All right, so is this a thing? Does it work? All right, so Whitney, I just want to say that was very amazing and a very pleasant message you have for everybody, because this story ain't really that pleasant. This story not really that pleasant. Let's talk about limbo relationships and shit, okay? Let's talk about that shit real quick. All right, and I'm glad that you set me up for like more curse words because there's curse words in this. Okay, okay. I was in a limbo relationship. We were living in a small ass apartment. These are like sun bright. What the fuck? All right, it's got a small tan. So I can afford it. We're living in an apartment. We were in an open relationship. I fucked that up because I was thirsty and young. We both fucked it up, but I can only speak for me. Yeah. So I did my fucking up in it, and I'm like, okay, look, I'm ready. The motherfucker that I am now, which is dope as fuck and continue to be dope. Like I wasn't there yet, but I felt it. Like I felt that nigga trying to come out. You feel me? Like I want to be a good person. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, fuck it. Here's all my stuff on the table. Boom. Here's all the things. Here's all the things. And I thought that she was gonna be like, okay, I see you. Here's all my things. Let's get over all of this. Let's talk about it. Let's get through it. She didn't put any of her shit on the table. She was just like, what the fuck is this? What is this? Remember this shit? I don't even know this bitch. Oh, around the corner, Binky? Jesus Christ. So I was like, okay. She started firing shots at me every day because of it. Like she was just like, and like because I was really on some like, okay, fuck this, fuck omitting. I want to be honest. I want to be this new nigga. It's gonna be great. But I gotta. This has to be my punishment, right? Like since I did the crime, it's like fuck it. I was like, fuck it. She's like, right? So like every day for like a fucking month. You know what I'm saying? And any Virgos here? Any Virgos? Virgo season? Put on. It is not in us to just hold shit down. You feel me? Like I feel I'm saying something. Fuck you mean? I ain't going to sleep with this bullshit on. That's trash. And please don't try to fuck to think we go get past that. Trash. Get away from me. Bow. All right. So she's firing shots at me every day. But I'm just taking it because I feel like that's what I have to do. Not even taking care of myself. So one day I was like, one day she said something. I was like, okay, and I grew up in a house full of women. Like I got 5 sisters and shit. So like I have the gift. You feel me? Like I grew up in a house full of black women. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right. My daddy is there and shit, but we were both overpowered. It was a lot. Anyways, she's fun. We were in an argument one day. My best friend Ayana come to pick me up. We about to go somewhere. Me and my girl in an argument. We're not even together at this point. We're not together. We're just living in the same fucking spot because we're gonna finish out the lease. Her name is on the lease, so we're gonna finish out the fucking lease and just be good. I'm going to Thailand. I'm actually going to Thailand in a couple months. You know what I mean? So this is so. We're arguing one day and we're just going at it. And Ayana comes in, my best friend. She knows me. This is my nigga, so it's whatever. So. She's like, she's talking hella shit. She's like, I don't love you. I don't want you. You ain't got no stroke. I'm like, bitch, all right. Me and my friends are like, we're like, okay. Because some of the shit she's saying is funny. It's funny. So she's like, you ain't got no stroke. And then she's like, I don't want you. I don't need you. She said, you don't do nothing for me. I was like, what? I was paying majority of the rent. I was cleaning when I came home. I was cooking when I came home. I didn't really want to be at the crib because she was there and we weren't together. So I was always gigging out. And so I was every time I come in the crib, she in the same motherfucking spot. Now I didn't understand depression at the time, but it's like for me, it's like what are you doing? Like what are you doing? Like I'm doing things, you ain't doing shit, and I'm paying all the bills. Like what the fuck? And so when she said you don't do nothing for me, I was like the fuck? I was like it was my first time like saying something back, and I'm like Okay, let me. What you mean I don't do nothing for you? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You don't do shit, blah, blah, blah. I was like, man, when I come back, you in the same position. I was like, how you gonna get somebody to come in here and do that for you? She was like, well, I could do that. I can get somebody to come in here and pay these bills for the next 2 months. I don't need you. I said, how you gonna do that? She's like, I got a pussy. And I was like, Okay. That's your response. Okay. So that's when like a calm comes over me. It's ridiculous, y'all. It's not good. She's like, I got a pussy. I was like, shoo. I said, okay, let me get this straight. Because Virgos love lists. I was like, let me get this straight. You can come, I'm using my hands a lot. I'm like, you can get someone to come in here, in this place, with you, For the next 2 months, it's never clean in here. You don't really do anything. It's always fucked up. And with you for the next 2 months, and pay the bills with you in here, in this place, in this space that you've created for the next 2 months, with that pussy? With that pussy? She was, I know, I get it, but you don't understand. This is months of her. Oh, y'all like, oh my God, Binky, fuck y'all. Y'all wasn't there, okay? Fuck y'all. I don't care how y'all, this is old me. This is old me, of course. But I was like, I pointed with 2 fingers and 2 hands. I was dead serious. I was like, with that pussy? I was like, you have to have a spare or something. It can't be that pussy. That's not that one. Okay. I'm like, are you on the donut and the spare's getting fixed? I don't know, because that can't be. My friend was like, Lawrence. She's the only person that calls me Lawrence. I was like, what the fuck? Fuck you too, G. She been talking for months. And she was like, get out. Like, get out. Started kicking my Timbs and shit. But here's the thing. Here's what I learned from all of that, right? It was too late for me to try to fix the things that I had a hand in fucking up. You know what I'm talking about? So we both were pushing each other to limits that we weren't ready for. You know what I'm saying? And then like toxic shit came out. Like I got a gift. My shit is quick. I don't want to fire upon her every day like she was doing to me, but I felt like the ignorant me thought that I deserved the vitriol because I did stupid shit where we could have just communicated about it and make a fucking decision like adults. You know what I mean? It's all about communication. So fuck being in limbo, y'all. Fuck being in limbo. Like, talk that shit out before it gets to that pussy. Thank you.
I'm just curious, like, how do you get in trouble in an open relationship?
By doing too much, by saying, hey, how you doing, Binky? Open relationship. That's me.
Oh, so that was just like a part of your intro.
Yeah, it was like there was moments where it was just too much.
There's a dick here. Just a lot of that. Okay. I appreciate the clarity to it too. And y'all, he has been on New Binky for a while now. New Binky is lovely. New Binky is like 75% old Binky. But Binky's really, really lovable. So, I'm sorry. Is this the roast of Lawrence Binky Tilbury? No, I'm kidding. Y'all, thank you so much. Thank you, Binky, for getting your ass up here. I appreciate it. Thank each and every one of you for doing whatever you needed to do to be here tonight. We appreciate you. Even if you didn't do anything, yeah, I'm seeing some people back there. Didn't come up here. Some people over here. Y'all are great. You wonderful listeners, you. We hope to see you back here for Grown Folk Stories every third Thursday. Y'all have to check our Instagram because I don't know where we're going to be from month to month. But next month, we're at Kenwood Gardens. So I hope to see you. Bring your blanket. Well, I'm sort of, actually. Yeah. Say it again. Oh, okay, great. So Greenline Performing Arts Center, which is our home, we are back in there in February, it sounds like. But, like 2 months ago, they said October. So who knows? But we're really committed to making sure that storytelling is happening. We're Chicagoans, so, we'll get the hot toddy, get a little blanket. You'll be good. So we will see y'all in October. Be safe getting home, everybody. Take care.